So there's rumors going around that the government's going to shut down TikTok. Um, and the thing is, the reason why it upsets me, I got a really, 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 really fatally black mood drop just now. And a lot of people said, and I know it's Twitter and I know it's the internet, whatever, but it's all that I have for socialization. And I suffer from a lot of severe disorders because of loneliness and isolation. And a lot of them were saying this weird sentiment where they were like, well, there's too many mediocre people on there that are posting really bad content. So who cares? Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. And they were like, well, maybe they should keep it up because if all the mediocre people are on TikTok, then let them stay there in their bubble. And everybody was like, oh, well, some people are talented. And they were like, some people post really good content and are worth watching. And it gave me a very, very black mood drop seeing people talk like that. Because why is it so wrong for regular people to have a platform to just express their life? And like, why can't you just block people or not use an app if you don't like that there's mediocre people showing off their life? Like, this app has helped my depression in some ways so much, if only for the fact that, like, this is the only app where people still have a personality, where they're still authentic, where they aren't posting curated content. I use all the social media apps, and almost none of them stand for human authenticity or the idea that people deserve to express themselves and exist just for the sake of it. And every time the consensus is almost that, like, unless you're like posting some extremely curated talented content, that you don't deserve to have a platform or you don't deserve to have a voice or to even post. And it makes me think about like growing up when the only social media that I really had was like YouTubers with 5 million followers and their fake, extremely curated, polished content, which is so boring. And when I had nothing except for like just like sociopaths and anonymous accounts on Twitter and stuff, like how terrible my mental health was and how I thought every day of my life, and I still think this to this day, even with TikTok, that I was the only person alive who was like just trying to fucking live and create and like to just be for the sake of being. And how at every turn everyone was telling you, you don't deserve love, you don't deserve a voice, you don't deserve community, friendship, or to be celebrated or anything, literally, to even exist, just because you're not posting like hyper curated, talented content, whatever the fuck that even means. I personally think that fake content from influencers is so boring because it's so fake. I think the most profound things in life are human authenticity, and even if it's stupid or ugly or messy, that's the way it is. And I genuinely can't stand how fucking goddamn lonely this culture is. If the government shuts down TikTok, that literally proves that they don't want us to feel connected to each other, because people on here complain about the job market more than anywhere else. And people really connect on here because it's our faces, it's our voices, and it reminds us every day that we're not alone. And if the government shuts that down, that is just actual proof that we are living in a literal sociopathic hell where they want everyone to be brainwashed with celebrities and politics. They want that to be the way that people think. Because I see people with 7 followers all the time on social media who literally will like talk like in a really weird way. Like they'll say, oh, but some people are talented, so they deserve to post, don't they? Like, not the mediocre people who don't have anything particularly special to show off, but the talented people deserve to have a platform and they deserve a voice. And it's just making me think, like, this brainwashing that America does of convincing people that only like special people deserve to exist, basically, or to be treated like a human being, and that everyone else is just a nameless, faceless worker and no one gives a fuck, is so weird to me about how successful it is. Like, why does a person with only 7 followers want a society where only the talented have a voice? Like, what is in it for them? It's because they're brainwashed, like so many people are, like I was my whole life, that I'm still trying to understand about how deep it was to this day. It's so devastating. There's nowhere in America where you can be authentic or where you can feel good about yourself or just be a fucking human being. And people act like just existing is like a literal crime. Like you don't deserve anything if you're just existing and just creating and just living without trying to achieve some hyper corporate fucking thing. And there's so many things on Twitter from people in the industry who are like, "Oh, you're losing interest in Hollywood because you don't like AI. Good, get out of here. You have no talent anyway." And it's all just so abrasive and all over fucking make believe of all things. I personally have a theory that the reason why make believe and why art is so gate kept and why it's so abrasive is because spirituality and art is the closest thing we have to God. And the closer people are to God, the more sinful they become. And I think it's because people are trying to gatekeep the glory of God, and that's art and the expression of art, because that's how we experience the glory of God. And humanity, being so sinful and so awful, wants to gatekeep that and to keep the vast majority of people from even coming close to experiencing or connecting with people. It's pure, raw fucking evil. And I know it's not right, and I know it's not my fault, but I'm still the S word over it because it's so fucking terrible, even just to casually take in.